Hey everyone, it's Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of providing great customer service and how that could translate into sales. Now, customer service is something I am very big on because it's really an area that is very easy to stand out in these days. The reason is because so many places provide terrible customer service, and I have experienced terrible customer service time in and time out in brick and mortar stores for the most part, but also some places online. So I've always made it a mission of mine to make sure that my customers have the best possible experience when they are interfacing with my business. And there's many ways you could provide great customer service, and I'm going to show you an example of it right now, which has to do with how quickly you respond to messages and how you respond to messages, because you will get inquiries sometimes from potential buyers, and it's important that you get back to them in a timely manner, because that shows that you're being responsible with your business, and that's something that buyers are looking for. They want to deal with a seller who is responsive. In fact, if you look at a lot of negative feedbacks, one of the comments that buyers will leave is that the seller was not responsive enough. So let's take a look into an example of this. This is an item that I had up recently. It's a lot of 23 comic books. Now, again, I'm just going to point this out about the comic books, that the comic books don't matter for this example. It's just the type of item that I had up that this example comes from. But if you're selling something else like clothing or DVDs or other types of books or toys, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just replace the comic books with whatever it is that you sell. But I will mention, just as an aside about comics, because people often ask me, tell me more about comic books. It's something I want to learn more about. This particular title here, you can see it's called Birthright. It's by Image Comics. Image Comics makes a lot of cool titles that you may not have heard about if you're not a comic book collector, that are pretty desirable amongst collectors. And Birthright is one of them. It's a comic book series that started in 2014. It's a character named Mikey Rhodes, who goes missing on his right before a surprise birthday party, and his parents are all distraught. His father winds up getting accused of murder. His whole family falls apart, and then he seemingly miraculously comes back about a year later, but he's different. He's now an adult. And how did that happen? Well, he wound up going into another world, and he wound up being raised as a warrior, and now he comes back as this new person with this new mission. So it's a really good kind of fantasy series, and a lot of people are into it. So that's why it's popular. And my knowledge of the comps for this particular title led me to know that the price I had these for was fair. It's a mixed lot. It's not all continuous, but it's mostly continuous. And people have been lowballing me on this for weeks. And I've just been holding out until the right person came along. And sure enough, I have a buyer or potential buyer who comes along and sends me the following message. And you might not be able to read it that well there, but let me just highlight it right here for you. It says, "Hi, hope you are having a great holiday weekend and all is well." So that's a very nice, pleasant way to start off a message. Good there for that potential buyer. "I was wondering if I could ask, how do you ship your comics? Any information regarding this would be appreciated. Thanks." A very nice message, and led me to think, well, wait a minute, I put in all my listings how I ship my comic books, but sometimes, as you know, I am doing things very late at night, and sometimes I may make a mistake. I have a little template that I pull from, in which I don't have to repeat the same things over and over again. And one of the things I put in my comic book ads is that I do ship the books packed strongly between 2 layers of cardboard. Now, I don't literally say cardboard, but I say it's protected by a strong outer covering. And so just to let the buyers know that their comic books will be safe when it's being shipped. But when I go over here and I look at what I wrote, you could see I have my standard message, just to let people know, comes from a smoke-free home. I'll combine shipping, you know, come to my store. This is all my standard stuff in my template, but I didn't put anything about how they are shipped. So that's my mistake, my fault. I picked the wrong, just generic template, but not the comic book template. So now, sometimes you might actually have the information in the listing. I've had this happen before, and the person asks you something that you had in the, you know, that you already had in the listing. So not everyone always reads exactly what it is that you write. But regardless, it's now time to respond to the buyer. And really, you know, what the buyer wants to know here, and again, that's why I say comic books, it doesn't really matter, but you know, people generally want to know, they want to have confidence when they're buying from you that their item is not going to get damaged, because a lot of people, and I'm sure you have had this happen too, have received items from internet orders which have been packed sloppily and wind up getting damaged. And this doesn't just apply to books, it applies to you know, toys and other collectibles that you might purchase. Not so much to clothes, but there are some clothes where it could be an issue if it's packed poorly, depending on the item. But in general, there's a lot of items that you know, you want to make sure they're packed properly so that they don't sustain damage, especially things that are collectible. So my job here is to reassure the buyer that everything's going to be okay. And so the message that I wound up sending back was, let's see, I have it right over here, I believe. Let's go up. So yeah, so I'll highlight this again. It's small print, but normally the way I initially respond to someone is I say, you know, hello and thanks for your you know, thanks for your interest and that type of stuff. But this time, you know, I tried to size up, you know, what exactly is this person's concern, and this person's concern clearly was whether or not this is going to be packed properly. So I decided, rather than to lead with politeness, to lead with confidence. And so my response just was plain old bulletproof. That's what I said, bulletproof. And in comic book lingo, that is a term that really does convey a lot of confidence for buyers. It's a term that some sellers will use to let people know that this is not going to get damaged once you get it. I mean, it means you pack it so well that it's almost impossible that it's going to sustain damage on the way. And so I then wrote, just to be more clear and more specific in terms of what I do, I said they're protected well between strong cardboard and boxed. I said, I'm a comic collector and seller. See my feedback. Never any issues. Thanks for your interest. So short and sweet, but covered all of the bases there. Used that general bulletproof term to just lead with confidence, then gave her some specifics in terms of exactly what I do. So letting the person know there's going to be all sorts of protection for these books. And then also note how what I do here is I am psychologically trying to, and I'll highlight the part right here, I'm trying to relate to the person. Let them know that I've been in their shoes. I am not just someone who's trying to sell you stuff, but I am also someone who collects these books, and so I know how you want them sent to you. And you know, that's kind of a sales strategy that's been used for a while now, in terms of, you know, trying to relate to the buyer. You know, that that old ad that said, I'm not only a client, but I'm also the oh no, I'm not only the president, but I'm also a client. You remember that one? That was from a hair product commercial. So you know, those types of strategies could be really, really important in terms of you know, getting the buyer to have confidence. Then also letting the person know to check your feedback. Not every person always checks the feedback, so see my feedback, and if they do, they'll see lots and lots of people complimenting you know, the packages that I sent out. Like, for example, if you go here and the person were to check my feedback, let's go over here to, let's see, where is my username here? So we'll go just back over here, just a regular old eBay, and go to my eBay and selling, just to show you if the person would have clicked it. So we just go over here to my feedback, and a few of the items recently, some people were very happy with how their items came. Like you could see here, A+++, excellent transaction, perfect condition, or this one, really would have conveyed confidence. Wow, I'm impressed with this seller and the condition my order arrived. So here's another one. Thanks, great packaging, arrived in good shape and as described. So that's and here's another thing too, just about how fast the item got there, and this is from Paul Curlin. Paul, if you're watching, that's hilarious. Paul bought something in my Facebook group from me. Lightning fast delivery. The mailman had to wear asbestos gloves. It was hot. That's pretty funny, Paul. Thanks for that. So, but the point is that it's all related to what I'm talking about. Is not only the way you respond to messages is a way to provide great customer service, but how you pack your items, package them with care, get them out fast. If you say you have 1-day handling time, show that you have a track record of following through with that. So if you have a track record and a trail of happy customers, that's going to be something that's going to help generate sales. So, letting the person know never any issues, and, thanks for your interest. So, instead of starting off with that polite response, thanks for your interest, I just end off with it. So I just, reversed it there in terms of the order of which I say things. And as you can see, the buyer was very happy. Now, one thing I didn't mention here is that this response that I did was very fast. As soon as that message came in, I made sure I could find a way to respond to the buyer. And you could see the person was very happy with that. She said, "Very cool, rapid response. Greatly appreciated. I will buy it now. Thank you. Warm regards." So on several levels, the way that I handled the situation, really pleased the buyer. The response time being quick was obviously something that was important to her, because she now knows if there's any issue or any way she needs to get in touch with me, she's not going to have to wait 48 hours for a response. She knows that I'm going to get back to her quickly. Now, sometimes you may not have the answer instantly for what somebody wants, and you may be out and have to get home and do some research. My advice to you in that situation is do not wait until you get home to get the information to provide the response. Let the buyer know that you got their email and that you will get back to them as soon as you get back to where you need to be to provide the answer. And then when you get back, make sure you provide it. Because if you don't respond, then what's going to happen is the buyer's going to start looking elsewhere, and it increases the chances, the longer you don't respond, that they're going to get frustrated and move on to another seller. So she said she was going to buy it now, and sure enough, as you can see here, sale confirmed. Congratulations, your item sold and it's been paid for the price I was asking, even though I had best offer listed. Person just decided, you know what, that sale price is fair, and I'm just going to purchase it as is, and she did. So great. So I packed the item up, sent it out to her the other day, and all's good to go. And so, again, I just wanted to make sure that I did a little video with you here about the importance of customer service and how that can translate into sales. Because sometimes, even though it seems like maybe that's an obvious way to respond, sometimes sellers, especially new sellers, might do some silly things or even some sarcastic responses. So for example, I could see some sellers responding to that inquiry with how do you ship it, and someone would write back, in a box, something silly like that. That's a sure way to drive away buyers. And if you think you're being funny with that kind of response, you're actually just causing yourself problems. So just stay polite, stay confident, get your message across and respond quickly. So I hope that this little tip video on customer service is important, and I'd like to know in the comment section just ways that you try to enhance your customer service experience. I know a lot of people like to leave thank you notes and that sort of thing, or tie a little ribbon around the clothes that you sell, or whatever. Just sometimes those little things buyers like, and maybe there's something you do beforehand as well to try to knock the sale out of the ballpark there. So just let me know any other tips that you may have as well. Drop them in the comment section, or if you have any questions, let me know that as well. Please make sure that you like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. We are right at the edge right now of 1,600 subscribers, so Would love to just get right over that little hurdle there and you know, get closer to 2,000. So I'm excited to see the channel growing so much. Thanks so much for all of you for supporting the channel. Make sure you also come to my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is down below. Also, make sure you stay tuned for this Friday on the 30th at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will be appearing live on Steve Rakin's show, Rakin Profits. That's right. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a great time. Going to have a great experience over there, so I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you either come by and watch it, or if you're at work and you can't watch it, just make sure you come back and you watch the recording of that. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. And lastly, make sure you come over to my Instagram account. That's prime_time_treasure. See you over there, and see you at the next video, everybody. Take care.